I know we didn't see Mr. Mojo last time. I don't know if we've seen either of these competitors on the stream so far in our Winter Invitational.
Oh, we have not. This will be their first time debuting over here on the stream.
Well, I always love, when we have these tournament formats and we can't capture every game because we would just be here for hours. I always love when guys who we didn't get to see in the first round are able to be on stream for the next round. And they're going to have a very difficult opponent for them to try and show off against. It is the Brute who we've seen. Of course, that Shield maiden at level 29 we've talked about quite a bit. Very, very tough. We've seen Hammer Time come out quite a bit as well. And now we're going to toss it to the pregame interview with Chuck.
Today's workout brought to you by Bang Energy Drink. Get your bang on.
All right, folks, I'm here with Charles in Charge.
How's it going?
Otherwise known as Chuck. A few questions for you, Chuck, before you jump into the arena.
Let's do it.
Have you recovered from last week's battle?
Yeah, when I came out of the last battle, I was pretty wore out, but I knew that I had hopefully another session coming up in the future if I beat my opponent. So I worked out twice since then. Okay. When I came in, I just made sure I did more lighter weight. I didn't want to take the full time off, but at the same time, I didn't want to strain anything as I prepared for my next match.
All right, so you gave the muscles a rest, but kept them active. Good deal. What exercise are you focusing on today?
Well, it's my understanding that my opponent has a couple water units that are pretty high level, which are susceptible to wind and lightning damage. So I have a feeling I'm going to be doing a lot of back. And then if back doesn't take them down or I'm more out on back, then I'll probably just try to rip out a bunch of squats or deadlifts to try to finish them off.
Okay, that sounds like a pretty good strategy. Any other strategy you could share with us as far as like your champions go? What champion might be a key player for you today?
Yeah, I'm still pretty confident that Rock Dude soaking up damage is going to be a big piece of my strategy. But I did put my Big Sue in the deck since it does lightning damage or more damage to water units. So I don't use that particular champion that often, but I have him in there just to try out in case I need to.
Good deal. Yeah, Big Sue's a good go-to. I use him personally in my deck. Last question, we'll finish on this. How do you feel about your opponent?
Well, I don't know much about my opponent, period. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. I know what they put up for a score, and so against this particular boss, I know that it takes a lot of effort to get at least 4 crystals inside there. So I'm shooting for at least 4. Hopefully, I can get more, but only time will tell. We'll see here in a minute.
All right. Well, thanks, Chuck, and good luck in there. Back to you guys.
To me that if from the last 2 competitors, both Isaac and Chuck, 4 seems to be the goal, which 4 would win a lot of these matchups. So I'm surprised that they're setting that they're that confident in their opponent, because it seems like 2 to 3 is what I would be thinking is what they're aiming for. But I guess if you get 4, then you automatically win. So it's interesting to see that how tough they think their opponents are going to be.
It's very interesting to hear the way they think this is going to go out. Because, typically, 3 crystals, you think 1 crystal per round, and there you go. But, having that extra one for cushion probably feels pretty good.
We'll have to see here. It's our final match of the quarterfinals that we'll be able to get on the stream. It is Chuck and Mr. Mojo, neither who we saw in our first round. So it's always nice to see them both get a debut on the stream. As we heard from Chuck, he definitely thought that, it's going to be those shield maidens. You can already see, looks like, as we hop in, Chuck's just a little bit ahead in terms of time. Just an extra minute gone by, but both of them taking on a shield maiden and a Sunbird making an appearance there for Mr. Mojo. Not something we've seen, I don't think, any competitor use.
Not in this set of rounds, no. It has not. Sunbird hasn't been in anybody's deck.
It's a very aggressive start from Mr. Mojo. He put a Sunbird out and a Lightning Tiger. Usually we see guys do what Chuck is doing here, which is save that 1800 energy elixir you get when the round starts, try and take down that shield maiden, and then put out everything behind your Rock Dude. So 2 very separate strategies here in the first couple of minutes.
Oh, it's nice to see a good mix-up, too.
Looks like those rows should be enough. It's going to be very close.
I'm not sure if he's going to run out of reps before the shield maiden runs out of health.
Oh, exact amount of reps takes down the shield maiden. That could not have been a better start for Chuck. And now we're going to see what he talked about. Get the Rock Dude down. Probably able to get 2 Scotties behind it as well. So Chuck probably got what he thinks is a perfect start. Meanwhile, you see there for Mr. Mojo, now he's got to deal with, looks like a shield maiden doing it with the fire chest press It's going to just do normal damage. I know some games, if you're, water versus fire, you do half, but we don't have to worry about that. But still not going to do as much as a row would do.
And that is true. It is not the best one to pick, but, it does save those back muscles for later when it really comes down to it.
Looks like Mr. Mojo might even be doing what we saw Isaac do, which is just completely ignore the left side and kind of crystal race down the Brute, because he's just going to say, you know what, I can't deal with this Shield Maiden. I don't want to worry about it right now. So he's just going to leave that left side maybe completely uncontested here. Oh, no, he just wanted to switch attacks, it looks like. So that'd be an interesting strategy. Unfortunately for him, both of his gates are under a lot of pressure. He's actually lost his first gate, and now his crystal is just under complete siege from this Ember. And hey, look, there's another Shield Maiden on this side for the Brute.
Oh, it was very nice of the Brute to do that. And that's just hard too. This is before heavy mode's available, and it does put you at a disadvantage.
Yeah, that is the one downside of the strategy we saw Mr. Mojo do, which is spending all of your energy elixir early, is that it's going to give all of that over to the Brute, and now the Brute's going to be able to do exactly what he's doing, which is a Shield Maiden, another Shield Maiden, and it looked like Ember. He waits for heavy mode to come online. He's going to go with the deadlift there. I guess take down the Ember, who's sieging that right side gate. Unfortunately, I don't know if the game's going to let him target the Ember.
Yeah, I don't think it's in the right spot for it right now.
Yeah, the deadlift does do AoE damage, but I don't know if he's going to get it right now. It looks like I can hear from the announcer, looks like Chuck has maybe just destroyed a gate and lost his own gate. We'll have to see when we go back to his view. So neither of them really off to a great start as you see max reps achieved there. And yeah, looks like Chuck has taken down a gate.
Yeah.
So he's in a pretty good spot right now.
And Mr. Mojo's got 20% left over there on these other gates, so that's a little nerve-wracking.
He's got 20% on a gate. He's got the crystal at 44%. Right now, Mr. Mojo's probably hoping that his crystal gets just taken down because he would save those 500 points that might come in huge at the very end in any sort of tiebreak scenario. But unfortunately, he might go down a full 2,000 points here. Is that left side gate probably just going to be destroyed? Yet there it goes. Ooh, this is just a rough start for Mr. Mojo right now.
Yeah, it's not pretty, that's for sure.
He did clear out the right side finally, though. He's hysterical squats. I don't know if it's going to do enough damage. Oh, he hit max reps.
Oof. That leaves him in not a perfect position.
No, his crystal's only at 5%. He's Sunbird going to try and eat some of that damage. I don't think it's going to matter. We do see Chuck has also lost his own gate, so the Brute definitely coming out to play here and making these competitors work for it. Is Mr. Mojo has lost his crystal, so he's got a full 2,000 points right now. That is not how he wanted those first 6 minutes to go.
No, that is not what you want to start out with at all. That's a big deficit to build back up from.
I will say Chuck's not in a very advantageous position. You see he's got 2 Shield Maidens, each with 90,000 health, beating on his gate and his crystals. So would not shock me if we maybe see both competitors lose a crystal here in the first 10 minutes, which would be absolutely crazy.
It would be. It would be not what you want to see, though, that's for sure.
No, we do see the hysterical squats, so looks like Chuck's once again going to try for the strategy that we saw Isaac do, which is just try and crystal race down the Brute. He's got the hysterical squat, so it might actually work. Unfortunately, he maxes the reps. If he can get one more hysterical squat, he might actually take down this crystal. It's going to be really, really close, actually.
And those back-to-back sets of squats, and that's not for the lighthearted.
See his crystal taking quite a bit of damage. Tries to queue it up. Oh, this is going to be so close. I think he's just barely going to miss it. Oh, 13% on that crystal, and he's going to lose it as well. Luckily, he didn't lose his other gate, so in terms of points, he's still in a sizable lead, but both players, unfortunately, losing an early crystal. Not probably the situation they wanted to see themselves in.
No, you don't want to start off in the negative, that's for sure.
See how they can recover I think Chuck, I mean, like I said, from what I've seen right now, Chuck feels like he should be more comfortable because he was only 13% away from winning that round. Mr. Mojo just unfortunately got absolutely sieged down because he definitely goes with the aggressive spend all your energy elixir early strategy, which definitely came back to bite him that last time.
It really did. And again, with this boss being set up just a little bit differently, you got to mix up your play styles.
It does look like he's taken down a gate already, and now he's on those hysterical squats on that crystal. So maybe Mr. Mojo just wanted to give the Brute a head start because he's looking, this is looking way different than we saw the first 6 minutes. And he's going to go from squat to deadlift, get a sunbird out there. He's going to try and get right back with a crystal pretty quickly, which is pretty insane. He's got a shield maiden coming, so he's got to move quickly.
He really does. But, nothing can motivate a person more than losing a crystal in the first round.
Let's look like Mr. Mojo has used some sort of power-up. I would have to assume with how fast he took that gate down, it was some sort of berserk combination, but I could not quite tell. And I thought I heard the Firehawk go off from the announcer. I don't know if it was the Brute or if it was Chuck using it. We'll have to see when we go back to his screen. But right now, Mr. Mojo is just going to do some more squats and try and rush down this crystal. Good news for him, that Shield Maiden got put on the left side. They didn't even have to worry about it. Basically a sort of a misplay there by the Brute.
Yeah, a little bit. Definitely in Mr. Mojo's favor. I still think the Sunbird is an interesting strategy to go with, considering what's typically going to be field. But we'll see how it plays out for him.
Oh, no. You could see there the hysterical squats. 4% short on the crystal. Yeah, it does look like we see Chuck has used his Sunbird, or his Firehawk, excuse me. So he is going to be out of that sidekick for the final 20 minutes, but give him a bunch of energy elixir for him to maybe siege down his crystal of his own.
And sometimes you just get put in that spot where you got to use it earlier than you really were hoping to.
Looks like Mr. Mojo should. It looks like he was able to get those squats out before the hammer time got summoned. So he gets the first crystal of the match. So nice little comeback there for Mr. Mojo. I was not expecting him to be able to go from losing a crystal in 6 minutes to getting one in about 3.5 minutes. Pretty insane.
Yeah, you can definitely see the determination kick in.
But once again, these Sunbirds, I mean, I would love to hear, if we do hear from him in the post-game interview, of what the Sunbird strategy is. Because that's something that I don't think we've seen a single competitor this week or last week even ever think about using.
And the one reason to use a Sunbird, since it is an aerial attack, your opponent's going to have a unit that could actually take it down. So considering what the Brute has in its deck, the Sunbird is almost untouchable.
Yeah, it would require the Brute to target it down with one of its energy attacks. And we see there a double Lightning Tiger. Looks like he also maybe wants to throw a grenade out on that hammer time as well. Or actually, he's going to throw it right on the gate. This is a very aggressive strategy for Mr. Mojo. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing around anymore.
Also, he's got something with the minions. Can't quite see what that one is. It's the minion group. So another one I haven't seen at all.
Yeah, that's the minion crew. That's not fun to be on the other side of.
Now, Mr. Mojo has a very interesting deck. We do see Chuck, by the way, has taken down a gate of his own. He's got the Brute's crystal at 65%, so he's working his way back to tying this one up in terms of overall crystal score. And since he didn't lose both gates, he would have a slight advantage in terms of point differential. As we see the Mr. Mojo, right before we went off screen, did destroy the gate. So he has got that crystal exposed once again. I like the aggressive strategy from him.
Well, and Chuck right now, he still has 2 of his power-ups left. He's got a Berserk and a Grenade over there. So even though he used his Firehawk, he can still go back, and he has something in his, basically up his sleeve at this point.
You got the hysterical squats. Unfortunately, none of that damage being directed onto the crystal. It's trying to take down, it looks like an Ember there. Should be able to get it, yeah. So he's going to get some energy elixir back, but unfortunately all that damage was wasted and couldn't go onto the crystal.
It'll be interesting to see which lane he throws Rock Dude in here.
My assumption would be he'll throw it on the left side. He'll put down a Scotty as well, and then maybe pump out an energy attack. And actually, it looks like the Spear NATO is going to come out and not the Scotty.
It would be nice to have, a fire and a air type out there on the field at the same time.
And the air unit's actually going to help out because the Shield Maiden came down from the Brute. I'll be curious if he has double damage mode right now, so maybe he can put some rows in and just power down that Brute. Mr. Mojo, meanwhile, has got his second crystal here at 57%.
Yeah, that ties him with the Brute right now.
And he's, those first 6 minutes must have been a fluke. Maybe something went wrong. Maybe, because, right now he has just been dominating the Brute, even though he lost. He went down a full 2,000 points, lost both gates and his crystal, and right now he hasn't given up anything to the Brute since.
He really hasn't. He's been holding his ground really well. And, with this boss being the way that it is, you just probably weren't expecting the Brute to come at you like he does.
Yeah, and the Brute, the first match we saw the Shield Maidens, they were fast and they were often. Doesn't seem like they've been as frequent in these last two matchups, so maybe players predicting the Shield Maiden, and then you see something like a Hammer Dude or a Boulder Bell come down, and you're like, I guess I'm not quite prepared for what the Brute wants to do.
Yeah, this boss is keeping players on his toes really well.
Another minion. This is a consistent strategy for Mr. Mojo. It's one Sunhawk or Sunbird, one or two Lightning Tigers, and then a minion crew, and he just kind of starts going to town on that crystal. He's used both power-ups, but it's worked out as he should be able to take down the second crystal and give himself a nice 2-0 crystal lead here halfway through the battle.
That will help him out a lot.
Got it at 20%. He's got the supercharged squats going down as long as he's got this should be a quick work of this crystal. Hysterical squats.
Yep.
Yeah, wow. What a response by Mr. Mojo. That's 2 crystals in 10 minutes for Mr. Mojo. That's pretty impressive.
That's insane. Yeah, hands down, definitely making a comeback.
Meanwhile, we see for Chuck, he's got the Brute's crystal at 30%. He's got the hysterical squats as well. Should be able to get it here. Unfortunately for him, though, this is just his first crystal. So he is still a full crystal behind Mr. Mojo right now. I think he's going to regret trying to crystal race the Brute there at that first part. Because, if he wins that, or even if he's able to get that first crystal before the Brute, I think he would be in a much comfortable spot. He'd probably be in the lead right now, but unfortunately he's a full crystal behind. And Mr. Mojo, same strat, 2 Lightning Tigers, 1 Sunhawk.
And it looks like over on Chuck's side, Brute went straight to the Shield Maiden. Looks like Chuck was waiting to see what the Brute was going to throw out before he made a decision. Never a bad idea.
Uses the hysterical grenade there. Does 75% to the Shield Maiden, so that'll be light work for him. Eventually, unfortunately, going with the chest press, not going to do super effective damage, so it's going to take a little bit longer to take down that Shield Maiden. Should be able to get it.
There it goes.
I'll give him a nice chunk of energy elixir there. Just give him enough for
Good old Rock Dude.
1 Rock Dude and 2 Scotties, it looks like. Maybe even a Lightning Tiger if you want to throw that in there as well. So, not a bad use of that.
Oh, he's going to go with the Spear NATO.
Oh. I don't even know if I see a Scotty in his deck over there to the right side. Maybe he just prefers the Spear NATO over the Scotty. Nope, there she is. Guess he just prefers the Spear NATO in case a Shield Maiden comes out, which makes sense. Would have that super effective damage. It's like Mr. Mojo is finally running into some adversity after those last 10 minutes where he absolutely destroyed the Brute. He's got his own tower there, but he's got a Hammer Time staring him down. He's got a Shield Maiden as well. Probably not an awful time to... He knew exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, not a good time for that. Well,
I think he's waiting for the for the Ember to be built there. So he's going to get a ton of energy elixir.
Yep, that was good to just wait that out just a little bit.
He's going to get, what he's got.
That should give him at least 3,000.
I'm just hoping he throws down like 10 more Lightning Tigers.
Just a whole flock of Lightning Tigers.
Yeah, make it look like, It's just an exhibit at the zoo, and there's just a bunch of lightning tigers. Oh, I think he's going for it.
Yep.
Mr. Mojo will be my new favorite if we just get a okay, never mind.
Ah.
No, I wanted the 9 lightning tigers just all beating down the gate. So I'm a little disappointed we went with the the Sunbird here to compliment.
Oh, there's another lightning tiger for you, though.
All right. I'll respect it. He wanted to get the one aerial unit out there. Huge fan of the lightning tiger. I think that's my favorite unit.
It is a very clever unit.
That is my current unit. Every time I go on the app, I'm like, is there a lightning tiger for sale? No? Okay. Maybe next. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I'll have a lightning tiger available.
I'm still working on leveling mine up, too, just so he lasts a little bit longer when he's out there.
I don't care. I just want him to do more damage. I wouldn't even care if leveling him up made him lose health. I just want him to do as much damage as possible because I think it's a really cool strategy. They just run past everything. And he might get another gate here with this full-on lightning tiger siege. I think he did lose them all, though. The tigers have been forced to retreat into captivity.
Yeah, you hate to see that.
But he's
Oh, there's going to go again.
Yeah, he did a good job saving, half of that energy elixir. Does look like he's got a shield maiden coming, but it's on the left side, so I don't even know if he's going to worry about it. You see, Chuck, he's got 10 minutes. He's got 1 crystal destroyed, so he's only 1 crystal behind Mr. Mojo. Tiebreaker would right now be on his side if he can even up the crystals, since he only has given up 1,500 points, but he's got a hammer time, and he's got a shield maiden going against him, and he doesn't have any sidekicks or power-ups. This is going to be a rough 10 minutes for Chuck, unfortunately.
It really is, and that's probably why he was assessing the situation there for a second to see what his next move was going to be.
Yeah, I like Mr. Mojo's strategy. He's completely ignoring the shield maiden. Kind of gets bailed out that it's on the wrong side. And he's got the crystal exposed for the Brute once again. He might get a 3rd crystal, but it does look like the Brute finally going to take down a gate. So points against Mr. Mojo starting to add up as long as Chuck can get down a crystal. And this tiebreaker would go in his favor if he can get it there.
Yeah, Chuck's got a lot happening on that left side there, too, that he needs to worry about. So we'll see how this ends up going.
Yeah, he's got a lot on the left side. He's got a Boulder Bell on the right side as well that he's got to deal with. It's going to be probably 2 or 3 minutes, depending on how well he can deal with these 3 champions before Chuck's going to be able to do anything. But once he does take care of all 3 of these champions, he's going to have a ton of energy elixir, and he's in double damage mode. So he's got a nice little setup here to maybe throw down a Rock Dude and a bunch of Scotties once he can clear out this Boulder Bell.
Yeah, I would think to focus. There goes his gates.
And he just couldn't quite get a couple more squats in on that Boulder Bell. Mr. Mojo's also lost the gate. He might be in a bit of a crystal race now this time with the Brute. He's got his crystal at 45%. Mr. Mojo's own crystal's at 51. And here comes the Lightning Tiger spam to try and sneak past all these enemy units. He doesn't have any power-ups either. This will be really close, actually. Can all these Lightning Tigers do enough damage?
I hope they do. I like how many Lightning Tigers he's using.
And he gets past his hammer time. He's got quite a few Lightning Tigers down there. Looks like he did do it. And he might, for the first time, be the person who out-crystal races the Brute. And he does. That's his 3rd one now, and he's put himself in quite the comfortable lead at 3-1.
Yeah, that's got to feel good, especially after how things started out. Seeing the score flip around like that.
Yeah.
Chuck's got he's got a 500-point lead on the Brute. However, he's still not quite where he needs to be for the match.
He does have the Brute's crystal exposed on that left side. He's got a couple of Scotties, a couple of Spearnados, and a Rock Dude down there. So he's setting himself up in pretty decent position. But Mr. Mojo, this strategy of Sunbird, Lightning Tiger, Minion Crew, it's been working pretty well for him, actually, at the start of a lot of these rounds.
It really has. It might need to be one of the new plays for the playbook.
Yeah, I have not seen anyone even come. I haven't even seen anyone bring Minion Crew or Sunbird in their champion deck, let alone use them as often. We see Chuck building a crystal, or trying to build a tower here. He's got the Brute's crystal at 48% and dropping pretty quickly. So he can at least get his second one. He is unfortunately losing right now 3 crystals to 1. So he's going to need quite a bit of a comeback here.
I'm just worried that these breaks that he's taking are just going to put him behind.
And he's already in a very, very huge hole he's got to make up. He unfortunately was not as successful base racing the Brute. And just ahead of the Brute's crystal at 13% when he lost his own. Otherwise, I think he would have been in a much more comfortable spot. You can see he's got that tower out, and Ember is coming out against him. He's got his range minions, though, on the crystal, so he should be able to get the Brute's crystal here, get his second one. But Mr. Mojo sitting at 3s. Probably got a little bit too big of a lead to overcome here in the final 6 minutes. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this plays out. I mean, we've seen gates and crystals get taken down very quickly before.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see, you know, how much Chuck can push.
Fortunately, he lost both of his range minions there. He's got a hammer dude walking down on that left lane, so not in the greatest of positions to be able to just get that second crystal.
And there seems to be a lot happening over there on the left lane for Mr. Mojo.
Yeah, it feels like as long as you can survive the Brute's first 2-3 minutes of attacks, you're good to go. And of course, Mr. Mojo kind of accelerates that since he does spend a lot of his energy elixir early. Chuck has gotten his second crystal, however, so he's only down 3 crystals to 2. So, I mean, if he pulls off something like we saw earlier, like you mentioned, where guys taking down crystals and gates in under a minute, he could be right back in it, but it's going to take a lot of work here in these final 5 minutes for Chuck to tie this match up.
Yep, we'll have to see if he's got it in him.
Well, Mr. Mojo trying to just survive this all-out assault. His left gate at 35%.
See the size of that thing. Hard to miss. The red team spent some serious
wonder if he looks like he's done it. He's just got to take care of this tower. There's a boulder bell being built by the Brute, but I think if he survives this, he should be in a pretty fantastic spot. Yeah, he'll just throw a couple of reps. He's still hitting max reps on Hysterical in the final 5 minutes, which is very, very impressive.
It really is. It seems there's only been a small handful that push through on those Hysterical full reps. Because again, in order to achieve that Hysterical, you have to have it on heavy, and that is ridiculously heavy. When I put my deadlift and my squats on heavy, they're at easily 300 or a little over 300 pounds each for myself. So you can imagine how much weight these guys are moving and how fast they're moving it.
Yeah, they just make it look like nothing. I will say, from what I've glanced at, Mr. Mojo's champion deck is very unique. I think I saw Hot Rocks in there as well, which is something I don't think I've ever seen anyone use. I like the creativity that he has in his champion deck, and it looks like it's going to work out here pretty well.
You know, and sometimes it's what it takes. You know, you take on a different kind of boss, you got to use a different kind of deck.
Yeah, I would have been really curious, like we said. We didn't see either of these guys in the first round. Would have been really curious if that was his same strategy. Because, I mean, everyone else is the tried and true, the rock dudes, a couple of Scotties. We've seen Chuck go with the Spearnados a couple of times, but it's absolutely completely different strategy here for Mr. Mojo. And for right now, he's got a 3 crystal to 2 lead. And Chuck's got to deal with a Shield Maiden before he gets there.
I can only imagine that there's going to be some people taking notes from Mr. Mojo's match right now.
Yeah, I would love to have known if it was like it's something he has built up over time, because of course you have to level each one, so it's not like you could just throw down Hot Rocks right away. You'd have to be definitely keeping an eye on it, leveling those up over time. So I would love to hear from him if it was, I scouted this boss out, or if this is just what he does every time he comes in, because I like the aggressive strategy. That's definitely one that I'm going to keep in mind, because I think that definitely is way more fun than the build up a ton of energy elixir and then just throw down a rock dude and a bunch of Scotties and just kind of sit there and wait. I definitely like Mr. Mojo's all-in strategy.
Well, and of course, then it utilizes your favorite one. It utilizes so many lightning tigers,
yes.
So I can see why you'd like that.
Yeah, I think the lightning tigers, I would have loved to have seen him put down the hot rocks, which just kind of sort of, run at the enemy gate or crystal, and then will just blow themselves up and do a pretty decent chunk of damage. I just want to check out the minion crew. I know I don't have that one unlocked. I'll have to see how long until I get it, because it seems interesting. Like you said, it's not something you want to be staring down.
No, see, I haven't unlocked it yet, but I faced it myself. And at the end of a match, you'll see that the enemy has deployed like 1,000 units, versus like the standard amount. And you're like, how did you get that many? And it's like, oh yeah, you had minion crew. Not fun at all.
Yeah, it definitely is a nice little strategy. Looks like he's taking down a gate, and he has also lost a gate. So he's once again in that sort of crystal race against the Brute. This time he is down. His is at 37%. The Brute's is at 89, but a minion crew's going down. He's got squats. He might try and race this one out in the final 2 minutes. He might get a 4th crystal here. He's already up 3-2, so he's already basically won, but he might zerk down another crystal here in these final minutes.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how this one plays out.
He cleared out that left lane. He doesn't really care about that hammer dude on the right side. That gate's more than healthy, and yeah, I think he's going to be able to get a 4th crystal for Mr. Mojo to kind of let everyone know that this kind of crazy strategy is one of the better ones we've seen. I mean, this is going to be our 2nd best performance of the quarterfinals, with only Preston taking down more crystals.
This is true. And poor Chuck's got that tower. I'm pretty sure that's not. Not sure what else is in his way there, because I can't see around that tower there. So.
Yeah, it looks like maybe it's a boulder bell. Looks like there are something being thrown at that Scotty that just died. He has taken down the gate though. So if he had some, like we said, we've seen guys take down crystals in under 30 seconds. Does help to get double damage mode, so maybe Chuck can get it, but right now Mr. Mojo at 4 crystals, Chuck's just at 2. I don't think he's going to have enough here in the final minute, so it does look like Mr. Mojo has picked up the victories. He's putting out more Lightning Tigers here, trying to find maybe a quick little gate in the last 30 seconds. And
hey, you never know, because when you can't see your opponent, your other participants score, you want as many points as possible, just in case.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, like we heard from, I think, Isaac, and we heard from Josh, and we heard from Chuck, at 4 crystals seems to be what they're aiming for. That's what they think is the number. So if you get that gate at the very end, those extra 500 points could be huge, especially since Mr. Mojo gave up 3,000 points. So he's not able to get it. He is going to be victorious, though, and Mr. Mojo with a nice little showing there. 4 crystals destroyed, Chuck only getting 2, so Mr. Mojo is going to advance to our semifinals.
Nicely done.
Yeah, huge congratulations to Mr. Mojo with, like I said, probably my favorite strategy we've seen. Nothing wrong with the tried and true Rock Dude and Scotty's, but I think it's really interesting to see, like, all right, let's see how many Lightning Tigers we can get going. Let's put a couple minion crews down there. I'm only just a little sad he didn't put down the Hot Rock just for kind of kicks and giggles at the very end there.
That's true. That would have been nice to see.
But a huge congratulations to all of our winners here. We had Preston, Josh, and Mr. Mojo all winning, of course.